and pull it up on my side real quick. Do you think about me now?
Okay.
Just need to set up. Just need to pull up the YouTube on our side so that way I can see that. But it should be a good episode. Anyone just tuning in, we are going to be talking about a bunch of topics. We'll be talking WNBA. We're going to talk a little bit of everything here on this Friday. We're going to be on here for about 45 minutes to an hour or so. No Ramon here today. But it should be a good episode. I do got Darrell with me here today. Darrell, how's your Friday going?
Man, it's Friday. Got a couple of days off to restart for the next week. I'm in a good way. Weather's nice here in Indy. Football's heating up, and basketball's right around the corner.
Yeah, should be good. I'm excited to talk some WNBA, especially after the comments that we heard regarding the commissioner and stuff like that. And then obviously NBA. I've been keeping up with all the media days. I heard what Tyrese had to say. I mainly was watching the Lakers and the Pacers media day specifically. And then I also kept up with the Knicks. I'm a little interested with the Knicks. We talked about their head coach. That was kind of the last thing we talked about before we moved over into football. I think the Knicks, they look pretty good with Mike Brown and, the way he ran that Kings offense and how fast-paced it was. I do think this Knicks offense is going to be very different from what we've seen under Tom Thibodeau. But we're going to start with WNBA and Napheesa Collier. She did her end-of-season interview after losing in the playoffs. I was going to say like the Western Conference Finals, but they don't sort it by conferences in the playoffs in the WNBA. So I'm just going to say the playoffs. I do have the full transcript, but, that's not – I feel like I don't really need to read the full thing. There's a quote that everybody is talking about, Darrell. I don't know if you saw the quote. I'm going to read it here for you right now. Says, I'm sure that they will be fine. I mean, it seems like anything with free speech is fine now. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buckers, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful. She makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. In that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal. I got them. That's the mentality driving our league from the top. That is the big quote that came out of the statement from Napheesa Collier a couple days ago. Stephen A. Smith went on First Take and said the commissioner should step down. I wouldn't say I necessarily disagree with him. To make a statement like that is ridiculous, especially it feels like this league, and we talked about it a while back, and we haven't talked about the league since. It feels like the league is doing everything in its power to kill the momentum it got itself when it got Clark and Reese into the league, and on top of that, Paige Buckers. But Napheesa Collier makes a great point, acknowledging what these young players are doing for the sport itself, and for the commissioner to say, well, Caitlin should be grateful that she's making this revenue because she wouldn't have made it without us. Caitlin filled out a football stadium in Iowa by herself. So I don't think it's the league at all. If anything, the league, Caitlin's the reason this team got chartered flights last year or at the start of last year. Caitlin's the reason why this league saw its best ratings, saw its best attendance. So it's not the league growing. It's one person growing the league at this moment in time. And I'm not saying Reese and Buckers aren't making that same impact. They are making an impact, but it's not as big as Caitlin Clark. And the commissioner, if she did say this, which if a player is saying she said it, I'm going to assume she did. If the commissioner truly did say this, I agree with Stephen A. on the fact she needs to step down or she needs to be removed, because congrats on the TV deal, but I think the reason they took the TV deal was because of number 22 in Indiana as the real major part of that deal, and not because the commissioner did such a great job in negotiations.
Well, I agree in part of that, right? So the first and foremost, if she did say that, that's commissioner malpractice. For her to not have enough understanding of the league that she's a commissioner of to see the challenges that they had prior to the last 2 or 3 years, right? The WNBA has continued to have an increased following, not just because of Caitlin. Yeah, a big part of Caitlin. We understand that. But those other young ladies have made a big part too, right? You got a 2-time defending MVP who's a beast. You've got Paige Buckers, who seems as though she's recovered from that knee injury from a couple of years ago and is ready to roll, right? So I think if the commissioner said that, which it seems like she did, I wouldn't say step down. I would say the owners need to fire her. But you got to remember this. The commissioner speaks for the owners. And I've yet to hear one owner come out and either disavow themselves of that commissioner or have a conflicting story with regard to that commissioner. I mean, I don't follow the WNBA religiously, but I think I would have heard something from one of these owners saying that's not what we stand for, and those statements that she made were not right. No owner has said that, so we can jump the commissioner all we want, but the commissioner works for the owners, and if the owners see there's a problem, they're going to speak to it. Just like the WNBA, I mean, the NBA owners have spoken out in times. Hell, even the NFL owners have spoken out against the commissioner at times. Yeah. So until I hear from one WNBA owner, for me, I'm going to say let her stay because that's what they want. This isn't a situation where you can vote her out. The people that vote her in are the owners. The only people that can vote her out are the owners. So we can rage bait if we want, but until an owner says something, I'm standing pat because that's where I want to hear from an owner. And maybe they've said something and I haven't heard it, but I want to hear from an owner saying, I don't like this. This isn't what we're about. So for me, let's hold off on the rage baiting here because I know everybody's jumping on the commissioner right now, and very fair since she's the one to make the comments. But you got to look over your shoulder and say, I haven't heard one thing from the person who she works for.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a fair thing to say. I just I don't know. Like you said, commissioner malpractice. I don't know how you come out. I don't know what makes you think that Caitlin should be grateful about. It doesn't make any sense to me because if you take away the $16 million that Caitlin is making, she's making about $70,000 over the course of 4 years on her rookie deal. So without those sponsors and everything else, she wouldn't be making that much money. And even if she could go play overseas and make more money than being in the WNBA, if she would have went overseas and played and not in the WNBA, she probably would have made more in endorsements than $16 million, or maybe she probably would have just made the same or more, regardless of where she went and played basketball. It's just the fact that the commissioner would even think that it's the league helping her is probably, if that's a true statement, that's got to be the worst statement I've ever heard from a commissioner.
Let me share something with you. I was pulling up some information, and you won't remember this because you weren't with us, but there's a gentleman named Gary Bettman, who's the NHL commissioner. When he came on in 1992, he made some very similar comments about the NHL and the look of the NHL. He went to a I think there was a conference that he didn't know many of the players by name. He called them by their wrong names. He was a laughingstock for the first 3 or 4 years in the NHL. Since 1992, he's been the commissioner. This is 2025. So you're talking about 8 and 25. That's 33 years. He's been the commissioner. He was named Sportsman of the Year in 2014, and the NHL has started to grow. And the thoughts about Gary Bettman in 1992 are far in the rearview mirror, and nobody remembers it. And he's still the commissioner. So something to think about when we're talking about this dynamic. This isn't something that we've never seen before. We've seen it in the NHL when Mr. Bettman was taking over a fledgling league, which was struggling to get people outside of the stadiums to watch. It wasn't a product on TV that people wanted to watch. They wanted to see it in person. So there is a precedent set here, and I would just say let's calm our nerves until an owner says something. That's a WNBA owner says something contrary to what we feel.
So their new TV deal, it's what I'm pulling up right now. So the WNBA has a 11-year media rights deal valued at approximately $2.2 billion, sent to commence in 2026 and extend through 2036. Now the league is heading towards a lockout, so we'll see when the 2026 season actually starts. But the league is heading towards a lockout between the Players Association and the league. We'll see if
I got a real problem with that, man. The league doesn't have the foundation, in my opinion, to even talk about strike, because you know how you talked about they wore the shirts at the All-Star game. I'm not saying take what they're willing to give you, but you just started on an uptick in popularity. This could really be damning to the WNBA because you got a lot of teetering fans as it is right now. And if they go to a lockout, they don't have the history of the MLB did in 1994 when they canceled the World Series. They don't have the cachet of the 1998 season for NBA for the strike until January. They missed half the season. They don't have that cachet. So be careful, ladies, because if you make that step, you got to stay with it. You can't say we will stand for only this, and then 3 months later you change your mind. If you're going to stand, you're going to stand through the good and through the bad. And there's going to be pushback. Any organization that strikes or holds out for more income is going to get blamed before the ownership does, before the leadership does, for whatever reason. Those who put the pain on their back, the sweat on their backs, those are the ones who get a lot of fingers pointed at them. So be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so their new TV deal, the primary broadcast partners are ESPN, Amazon Prime, and NBC Universal, which is NBC, USA Network, and Peacock. These platforms will collectively air over 125 WNBA games, and then obviously the playoffs and the WNBA finals. NBC Universal is the newest one that has been added. USA Network will host a Wednesday night doubleheader, so that is pretty good because the league's previous TV deal, I mean, you had to go to the most obscure networks to find these games. So it's an upgrade in a TV deal. $2.2 billion, not as much as the other leagues, but I think for the league, you get this TV deal. The players say, okay, now there's more pie at the table. We should get a bigger share of that pie. I don't find it that egregious, but I do get where you're coming from. You just started this uptick, and now you're asking.
I'm not saying they shouldn't. Be careful. This is a spot where there's no U-turns. This is a one-way street. So if you're going to go down that path, go down it. Just understand there are consequences for actions. And my concern is for those young ladies who have to go overseas and play right now.
I think a great example is like what women's soccer did a couple of years ago, because they had the success of a multitude of years, multiple World Cup appearances, and being successful. And then they asked for more money, and they got it, right? Because they've been better for the men's team.
Well, they had the proof. Yeah,
right? They had the proof.
Yeah.
So that I think that's their best comparison. Is like, I mean, you saw that women's team, and I watched them when I was little, right? And I saw them be better than the men year over year, or World Cup after World Cup. And there was a couple of years I remember watching them win the World Cup, and the men lost in like the qualifying rounds. So it's like they proved like, hey, we maybe not paid as much as the men, but we need to be paid a more hefty amount when we're providing all this winning and putting ourselves on a global platform and performing like that. So we'll see what happens with the WNBA. Before we get to football, let's move over to the NBA. Media Day started today. We've had some preseason games that go on yesterday and today as well. So, Darrell, where do you want to kind of talk about? I am very excited to talk about NBA. This is my bread and butter. So
I still got a hangover from June, man. I'm still tipsy, man, from the excitement of the 1st of May to the end of June. This city was on fire for 60 days and going towards the summer. So many doubters doubting the Indiana Pacers, and they played and if not for a Halliburton injury, I think most of us would agree that title would be here in Indianapolis. But nonetheless, the season is on the brink, so to speak. I'm ready for it. Ready for year 13. 13 as a season ticket holder, ready to roll. I'll definitely be there. And my hope is that those players that had wanted more of a hand in the Pacers winning on the court, they asked for it. They're going to have an opportunity to get it, right? A lot of players that maybe played 20 minutes may play 26, 27 minutes now, and that may be a difference. So I'm looking forward to a hell of a season for the Pacers. They're undersold right now, but we'll see what happens by the end of the season. I'm still confident the Pacers are going to have a good season.
Yeah, I think Pacers are with how many injuries are in the East, they're floating in that top 5 area. I think in my mind, after having some time to sit on it, I still think the top 4 teams in the East are New York, Detroit, Cleveland, and Orlando. That's not in order, because if it was my order, it'd be probably New York, Cleveland, Orlando, Detroit. And that's just kind of how I feel right now. I know you probably have that swap. You probably have Detroit ahead of Orlando, which is fine. I think it's very close between all 4 of those teams. Obviously, New York and Cleveland got more of the playoff experience. Darrell, I know you got Netflix. Obviously, got Netflix. Have you got to watch season 2.
I don't have Netflix.
You don't?
No,
I'm going to have to give you the login because you're going to have to watch it. You may not want to watch the last episode, and I don't blame you because I probably won't watch it either. But season 2 of Netflix's Starting 5, they basically they focus on 5 players throughout the whole NBA season. They did the first season with like LeBron, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler. I forgot who else. Sabonis. I forgot this season, their second season. They did this before the season started.
Okay.
And in this season is Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and the last 2 are Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Did they hit the money on the head or what?
Sign me up, Coach. Sign me up.
I'm gonna have to send you I'll have to send you the trailer because man, the trailer, it broke a lot of Pacers fans' heart because they opened the trailer with Tyrese saying, "If we lose Game 7, I'm gonna think about it forever and ever." And it's like, it's soul crushing.
As a fan, no fan base is devoid of heartbreak. This June was no different than many others that have gotten their hearts broken. We got to keep on moving. We got to keep on moving.
I can't watch that clip. I know when it's coming too. Like I know, like when his Achilles pops, I know like 5 to 10 seconds before the play even goes. I'm like, nope, and I skip it. No matter where it's at on my social media feeds, I just skip it. I can't watch it. But I'm gonna have to give you our Netflix login or something, or you may have to get Netflix to watch it. It hasn't come out yet. It comes out.
We need some more sponsorship dollars. Let's get some more sponsorship dollars so we can see.
It comes out October 16th. Speaking of sponsorship dollars, thank you to Matt Gaddis for sponsoring the GameTime Podcast. Thank you to him for coming on last week on our first episode of GameTime Live. We are live today. We will be live on Sunday. This was just a special because there were so many things we wanted to talk about, and I'm like, well, let's just go live and talk about all of them. That way people can come on here and watch if they want. GameTime Live, it'll be on this Sunday, 11 to 12. I just hit my mic by accident. But Starting 5, that'll be a good documentary. I definitely think you should give that a watch, especially because, man, everybody else in there other than Jaylen Brown, their seasons are going to end pretty quickly. But you got Tyrese and Shai both. I mean, that's a grand slam. But
you got the foul baiter and the McTryhard at the end.
Well, it's at the start of this live, I said I've watched 2 media days. I watched the Lakers and I watched the Pacers. The Lakers and the Pacers are the 2 that I watch. Pacers, I'm pretty excited to see what happens with them this season. Like I said, when we talked to Alex Gordon months ago, I said, I think Mathurin or Nembhard becomes an all-star this year. We will see. It's especially with that Eastern Conference. I'm not saying they're a starter, but I think they do become an all-star. Whether somebody gets hurt and they sub in, whatever the case is, I think one of them becomes an all-star. More confident in Nembhard than Mathurin right now, but I think Matherin's going to have a good season regardless of what happens. I hope Rick Carlisle is a little less less strict on him. I hope he lets the leash off a little bit. Let Mathurin be ball dominant. Let him attack the rim. Let Mathurin be Mathurin this season and just see what happens. Because without Halliburton, this is a great chance for him to find a role. Because, I've talked about it with you. I've talked about it with my stepdad. This Pacers team, it's either you're hot or you're not. And that's just kind of how it is, right? Neesmith was hot in the playoffs, and they kept feeding him. And there were some nights he wasn't hot, so he didn't get the ball. And it's like, man, he had 6 points when the night before he hit 6 threes against the Knicks. So it's like,
but that's the beauty. But isn't that the beauty? Because
yes,
every night you never know who is going to be your leading scorer, and I could live with that. That just means you've got a versatile team, and I think Rick Carlisle probably coached his best last year. Well, that
was his
Dallas against Miami was his best coaching. At the finals. But he was a prohibitive underdog.
Yeah,
and they won. And let me don't get me started on that. But point being is, he's got this year a new deal, and let's see how he can be flexible. But I think there's going to be something to it this year. I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to seeing how he does on the bench with those players getting more minutes and how tight of a leash he has on some players.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm already head first into the NBA content. I've been watching a lot of videos on different teams. We talked about it, I think, after the draft. I think we're both excited to see what the Wizards can bring to the table this year with all the young talent that surrounds that roster. And then the 2 veterans that they got there, too, in McCollum and Chris Middleton. They traded for Cam Whitmore, who is another young guy, he's a little older than what they got there now. I think he's like 23, but still, that's young. So I'm excited to see a lot of what these Eastern teams bring. I said I had a very exciting take about the Hawks, if you remember that. So we'll see.
It was your Atlanta bias, I think we talked about, right?
So I'm curious. I think the Hawks can be pretty good this year. But when we move over to the West, I'll have to make an edit of it because we came up with it right as the NBA season ended. The young and the Lakerless. We will continue that trend now that the NBA season is back. Luka has lost a significant amount of weight. We talked about that when the season ended after last year. Is Luka going to drop weight? What is, it's imperative that he does. That was a conversation all 3 of us had on this panel after the season had ended for the Lakers. Me and you both, right, were very heavy on they need to trade AR. AR did not get traded. I saw a report that there was a deal open that the Jazz wanted 2 first-round picks and Austin Reeves for Walker Kessler. I wish we would have taken the deal, but we did get DeAndre Ayton, so it's like, I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. Defensively, that will be the answer when we get into the season. We talked about it in the offseason. What is the big thing for the Lakers going to be? It's going to be their defense. You've got Luka and AR pretty much, they're going to start, and those are going to be your 2 guards playing defense. So how will that work out? We will see. Luka looked pretty good over in Europe when he was playing basketball. He actually won like best defensive player or whatnot, but that is Europe.
I was going to say, be careful.
Big difference.
But to the point, he lost weight. That means there's a little bit of commitment from him, right?
Yeah. Signed an extension.
The extension. But the question will be, how does DeAndre Ayton fit into this? He is a very talented young man, so talented enough to be the number 1 pick. He hasn't embarrassed himself from a playing perspective other than effort. The effort is where he's been amiss. If he's motivated this season, don't be surprised if you see the Lakers fighting for a Western Conference Finals bid. If DeAndre Ayton is motivated for the whole season. There's no snow in LA, so he can't get snowed in LA. So you don't have that to go with. So I wouldn't be surprised if those Lakers surprise some people this year. I know that Ayton doesn't get a lot of love because of his last 2 stops, but this is LA. He's playing with LeBron, the greatest active player, in the NBA right now, the greatest active overall player in the NBA right now. He still has a coach that leaves some things to be desired, but he's in LA. He's got to restart, and this is the last year of his deal as well. By the way, don't forget that. Yep. So he's playing for a contract as well.
JJ Redick got an extension. I said it on my Instagram. I think I'm still very much a believer in Redick, regardless of what happened last year. Because you look at everything, right, other than the playoffs, which that's where it matters most. I don't disagree. It was a good regular season. Lakers got the third, and before AD, they were hanging around third. They were third, fourth, fifth. They got Luka, got third in the playoffs, went against a Minnesota team that had a center, right? Had Rudy Gobert. We talked about that at length here on this podcast. For Redick, it's going to be how does he improve after last season? You had a really good first year as a head coach. A lot of coaches would kill to have that type of first year. You got to be better in the playoffs. I said it when they lost, right? This falls on JJ Redick and his performance in the playoffs. He's got to be a better coach in the playoffs. I think he will have this team ready to go throughout the whole year, no matter what is thrown their way. I think he showed last year whether it was times AD was out or times Bron were out, this team could still win games. I think that's one of the strongest things I saw from him last year, where you look at Darvin Ham. We didn't have Bron or AD. He didn't know where to go to on some nights. And I think that's Redick also utilizing.
That's tough regardless. No coach, if you don't have Bron and AD on your team, who do you go to?
But I think Redick also did a good job of finding more ways to get AR in the offense. I think Austin Reeves was a lot more impactful than he's been in current years, but I think Reeves has also gotten better as a playmaker as well, creating his own shots and everything else. I think having Ayton there will kind of remind me of what him and AR and AD were doing in the two-man game last year before they traded him. I think we can see something similar there. Lakers have a good roster. We will see what happens with them as the season goes on. I will be watching a lot of their games like I always do. Maybe I'll make some separate videos about them. We will have to see. The other team that I'm interested in talking about is Houston, right? Very good team overall, up and down. KD, Thompson. Sucks they're not going to have Fred VanVleet. That's a big blow. But I still think behind Oklahoma City, this is the second best team in the West. Well, actually, maybe the third best team in the West, because like I said before we got done with our NBA talk, this is the year that I said Spurs make the Western Conference Finals. So
I remember that. Yeah. But you talking about Houston. A lot of people have forgotten about a young man out of Kentucky named Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd is a highly athletic. Coming into last season, going into the preseason, early season, it was talked about he's going to get some run. He didn't get much run last year, and I understand. But he's not a baby. He's been in the league now. He's seen it all. He's going to step into a situation where he can't wet the bed, right? You've got great scores on the perimeter. You've got a really, really good big man. Just don't mess it up, Reed. You don't need to be a 25-point-a-game scorer. VanVleet didn't either. Just toe the ball, put guys in a position to be successful. I think Houston is still, for me, right behind Oklahoma City as number 2. Right by, they're behind them, yes, but they're breathing on their neck.
I got him at 3. I really like San Antonio. Wemby worked with Garnett and Hakeem this offseason. So, I mean, man, I am so excited to watch Wemby this year and just see how much he's grown.
I think it determines how many threes he shoots.
That's a good point. Yeah,
if he's still in love with the three, it won't matter. Working with Hakeem and KG wasn't shooting threes.
No, I know, but still, it's just like
I'm gonna be watching that. I'm gonna be tallying his threes versus last season. That's what's gonna be a big deal for me.
Yeah, I think he'll still shoot them, but I mean, you working with Hakeem and
got to scale
KG,
back though. You can't shoot as many threes as you shot per game in your rookie year. You can't do that.
Where do you see 12? Where do you see Denver this year? They had a good offseason.
They had a good offseason. I would say probably 4, but that's barring injuries and those type of things. I like what Denver did. Does Nikola Jokic, is he still motivated?
Seems
like he's still motivated.
Seems pretty motivated. I think so. I mean, based off what I've seen in practice and clips and stuff, seems pretty motivated. So I
Yeah, I'd say OKC, Houston. I think I maybe would slide Denver to 3. I would put Lakers maybe at 4, to be quite honest. And
Really?
then
Minnesota?
Yeah, and then I'm sorry.
I would say Lakers are about fifth or I'd say
Minnesota third.
I'd say Lakers are like 5th or 6th. I think they're behind.
I forgot about Minnesota. My bad.
Yeah,
Minnesota
no, you're good.
3rd, Denver 4th, and then maybe the Lakers 5th. But all it takes is an injury here or there, and then all of a sudden you catapult 2 spots.
I would say Oklahoma, San Antonio, Houston, Denver, and then Minnesota.
You and I are so off base with San Antonio. We are, man. You thinking 2? I'm thinking 5 or 6 for them.
I'm thinking Wemby just.
Okay. He's tall.
It's time for that leap. It's time for that leap. I think it's time for that leap. 2 years in, it's year 3. This is where people start thinking, we're in trouble the next 10 years.
Next 10, he better have 15 under his belt.
Oh, I'm being nice.
He's a tall drink of water. He's 7'12" at 190 pounds. I want to see how much he weighs. I want to see what he's put on his body.
I'd put the Lakers at 6 right now for sure. I think that's where I've got him in my head.
You got him behind San Antonio?
I do.
I don't.
I'm being a little hard on them, man. I mean, not Cowboys hard on them. They don't fail me that bad. We can look. We just recently won a championship. It's not the end of the world, so it's fine. I'm not gonna be too hard on them, right? I mean, at least, yeah, we're good. All good. What was I going to say, though?
You can say, let's go to college football. That's what you're going to say.
There was one more thing I had NBA-wise, and I think I forgot it. I don't remember what I was going to say.
It'll come to mind when we're spitballing college football.
All right. College football, I don't have much here on this topic. I think, especially with how packed last week was, the game I'm interested the most in is Miami and Florida State. Yeah, Miami and Florida State. I had to add the state.
Nice catch.
Yeah.
So it's 3 games. The 4. The night game, 2 night games. You got Miami and Florida State at 7:30. Florida, they're at Florida State. They're in Tallahassee. Then you got Mississippi State at Texas A&M. Those are the 2 night games I'm gonna be paying a lot of attention to. The midday game, obviously, everybody's paying attention to that. I know we talked about last week. No one cares, but clearly ESPN and Game Day cares because they're gonna be in T-Town at 3:30 Eastern to watch Alabama and Vanderbilt. So Bama's 11.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
They're at home. That's also coming off of last week's win against Georgia. I said on this pod, your win against Georgia means nothing if you don't follow it up with a beat down with Vanderbilt. The players, they're making money now. The less motivation from week to week. How does Kalen DeBoer get his team up for a 3:30 game, 2:30 Central Time? Game day is in Tuscaloosa. All the eyes are on you, clearly. How do you respond if you get hit in the mouth by that running quarterback like you did last year in the first quarter?
Yeah. Some other games to keep a note on, and I think we talked about it last week, Texas Tech and Houston. That's a big one for the Big 12. Another one is Cincinnati, who's 3-1 against 5-0 Iowa State.
They're at home. They're favored. They're favored. You know that?
Yeah.
Cincinnati favorite at home.
I'm putting money on Iowa State.
Number 14th ranked team in the country is an underdog against an unranked opponent.
Crazy.
I'm smelling the money there.
Other game that could be interesting, right? Georgia, Kentucky, SEC game. Kentucky played them close last year, so we'll see what happens there. Boise State, Notre Dame. I think we both talked about this one. Was it you or Ramon that said Boise has a shot?
That was Ramon. Okay. Boise has as much shot as I do is growing an afro. This won't be close. This will be a blowout midway to second quarter. Not even close. Yeah. And that's coming off the heels of what Notre Dame did to Arkansas. Boise doesn't stand a chance. They shouldn't probably get off the bus.
Wow. Okay.
They don't have
and then after that, this could definitely get Louisville ranked. 4-0 Louisville versus 4-1 Virginia Tech or Virginia. Virginia's number 24 in the country. Big opportunity for the Cardinals to get ranked. That would be big for the ACC as well. Obviously, they may flip if Virginia were to lose here, but I think that's a big thing for Louisville. I got some friends that went to Louisville and currently go to Louisville, so I know they're very excited about this game because they know what's at stake for them if they can win this one. So I'll probably keep an eye on that.
A ranking's in place. Virginia's not at home, so you don't have the crowd standing over the field, right? To ready to storm. So Louisville, they've been playing well this year. If I'm a betting man, and yes I am, I would probably take Louisville in this game.
I would take the Cardinals.
I would take Louisville in this game. Don't forget about Texas and Florida, though.
Yeah,
Texas and Florida. I know we've kind of smashed Billy Napier week after week.
It's in Florida. There is a chance.
They're at home. They're in the swamp. Does your quarterback come to play Saturday? That's, to me, that's your question. Does DJ Lagway, is he a better quarterback for Texas or is he a better quarterback for Florida? Because if he does what he did against LSU, they don't have a chance.
Thoughts on the AP poll?
On the what?
The AP poll, the one that came out. We didn't talk about it because we were already off the live stream on Sunday. So what were your thoughts on the AP poll?
Man, it's midway. You got teams, jumping and dropping. There was really pretty much week one of conference play. This is week two. I think I said on our one pod, I think I said after 7 or 8 games, that'll tell a little bit of the story. But as we talked about, every week takes on its own life. Yeah. These games we just talked about, somebody's going to kick somebody in the butt that we had zero idea that it was going to happen. I know we talked about it, but you just can't put your finger on it right now because there's so much topsy-turvy going on right now.
Ole Miss at 4. Like that. I guess. And LSU drops all the way down to 13. Texas Tech didn't move at all. I think we all thought, before it came out, we all thought Texas Tech would move, but they didn't move. Penn State dropping to 7's not that bad. We did call this. I think we all agreed on the pod. Oregon jumped Miami for number 2. We all called that on the pod.
Yeah, remember we talked about home underdog. On the road underdog against a 2-ranked team. Yeah, the whiteout, all of that, right? So I'm telling you, don't be surprised if the top 10 shakes up again this week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting. I'm more interested in NFL, though, for sure. I think NFL is where my attention's at. I'll also be broadcasting tomorrow for IUE soccer, so I'll probably be watching a lot of the late college football games, specifically Miami and Florida, and Texas Tech and Houston. I definitely want to catch that one as well if I can. But are we moving on to NFL?
Yeah, we can bounce to NFL. I think we covered pretty much the college football and the landscape, right? Number one is still Ohio State. They weren't tested last week against a hyped-up Washington Husky team. Yes, they got a quarterback who's very shifty, but they weren't ranked. As the conference play comes into play, it's going to tell more of a tale. But just as Max said last week, the Big Ten is top-heavy. You got your top 3, maybe 4, and it's a big drop-off after that. It's not the same as the SEC, hell, even the ACC. So from that perspective, I'm not saying better conference. I'm just saying depth of conference. So, let's see what happens when week 8 comes and see where things are shaking out at.
Yep. Moving on to NFL, I want to start with something that I saw it was Shannon Sharp. He was on his pod talking about, because we talked about it, the Ashton Genty has struggled a little bit, but last week, pretty good game from him. Had, I think, like 100-something yards rushing, everything else. But what everybody else noticed was he changed his stance back to his old one. And Shannon Sharp basically called out Chip Kelly and was like, why do you care how the kid stands? He's 5'6" when he's standing. When you make him bend down, he's 5'2". And, I guess Sharp was just kind of like, and this has always, I think, been an issue with Chip Kelly, even when he was in Philadelphia. It's my way or the highway. And so somebody must have told him, just let the kid stand how he wants to stand. I'm not saying the stance is the reason why he got 152 yards, but when you have subpar weeks in a row, and then you go back to what you're known for, or what you're just used to, doing, and you probably feel way more comfortable, I guess.
I tell you this. If he does a similar play this week and next week, I'll say it's the stance.
I will too. It's only 1 week, but I just thought it was interesting that Shannon Sharp brought that up, and I saw the clip, and I was like, I'm going to bring that up on the pod.
It's going to be good because we'll be able to see them because they're playing the Colts this week. So there'll be a lot of eyeballs on it, right?
It's a tough Colts defense.
Well, the stance, right? The stance.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
I'm just gonna tell you this. I don't believe it's a stance. I think he was ready to get on track, and he got on track against a team that's kind of subpar in the run stopping category, and that's the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
but Colts a little bit better at stopping the run. Yeah, Jeff Jones, Notre Dame didn't move. They need to move all the way out.
I said we had a heated debate about Notre Dame and IU a couple weeks ago, and I said I think Notre Dame will drop one more game before the season ends, because we had this debate of if Notre Dame is 10-2 and IU is 10-2, who's the committee going to pick? Me and you both agreed Indiana. Ramon said Notre Dame, and I was like, Notre Dame? I'm like, I don't think so. I think Notre Dame wouldn't even.
I mean, I think they'll pick Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame drops another game,
but I don't know how they can. They got boys this week. They're going to rest up. I'm thinking USC. Notre Dame's going to run the table. I know we flip-flopping. I think Notre Dame runs the table.
Okay.
Hey, they're saying they're shutting Genty down. At least let him get a couple of 100 yards from a fantasy perspective.
I didn't draft him this year. I knew better not to draft Genty.
I got a lot of shares of Genty, so it's going to be a nail biter for sure. But back to the NFL though.
Yeah.
As we were talking about. With that said, I know you talked about Genty and his situation, but
I know
what about the Colts, man? The Colts they gave that game away last week for the Rams, right? How do the Colts respond for a Raiders team coming off a win against the Bears? The Bears beat them, and then coming cross country, right? They got to come cross country. How does the Colts handle that situation when they came across country and probably left a game on the table? What do you think their mental makeup is?
I think they just got to keep playing how they've been playing, and for Steichen, it's okay. I mean, it's a horrid loss. There were so many. You shot yourself in the foot.
Man, that was bad. That was
a multitude of times. But you gotta let that go at some point, and you can't dwell on it, because you may come in here and drop a game to Geno Smith and the Raiders in Lucas Oil. So you got to keep focus on what you've been doing right, and what they've been doing right has been primarily all season. And they made that Rams game was still close. Yeah. We said this is a big game for them because a lot of outsiders, a lot of media have said, well, the Colts haven't played nobody. Okay, that was their first real challenge, and they should have won if it wasn't for themselves. So let's see what happens.
They got injuries too. They got a lot of injuries.
Their
injuries are building up too. And this is only week 4.
Yeah.
We talked about one of the episodes, we talked about depth of players. Man, this is a big deal here, man. Big deal here. So,
and I agree.
I'd be interested to watch that game. I think it's going to be a highly contested game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not decided till the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Did you see that Tyreek Hill injury on Monday night?
Yes, I don't want to talk about it.
No,
gruesome, man. That gruesome.
Horrible.
And I will say this. I don't like the way people have made jokes and comments, right? And I understand these guys are in the media, good, bad, or indifferent. It crosses the line when it gets personal. That's how I talk about in our sports groups on social media and everything else. It gets personal. People taking digs at him. Some guy said it's karma because of this alleged abuse of his ex-wife. We don't know what happened there. We got to keep it football. And many people don't want to keep it football. It seems like they want to get a click or something. And I'm saying to it because our show won't go to that. This isn't a gossip columnist show. We're going to talk about the facts of the games, and then what we see as a win or a loss or an opportunity. We're not going to I'm not going to get personal with Tyreek Hill and his personal life. That's his personal life, not mine. I hope he heals. And I hope he has an opportunity to come back next season. Looks doubtful, but I hope he has an opportunity to come back and at least have an opportunity to play at somewhat close to the level that he's been at for many years.
I didn't watch the game. I thought it was an interesting game, but I didn't watch it. And I was upstairs. My mom called me. She's like, Tyreek Hill broke his leg. And I'm like, what? And I think I saw a video, and somebody said basically, like, I think since that Kevin Ware injury, we've all just gotten so used to these gruesome injuries on television. And we're all just kind of like, man, there it is again. And we just all and that's a really good point. It's like, I think the Kevin Ware was like a good example of just like, You know, it shocked us really bad. And I was little when Kevin Ware happened, but I specifically remember seeing it live on television. I was at my cousin's house. And from then, you've only seen these injuries get worse. And especially in football these last couple of years, it's gotten so much worse in football from Dak's injury to just Aiden Hutchinson's injury.
You see a lot of those bend. Those body parts aren't meant to bend that way, right?
I think the worst one. I mean, Hutchinson's is the one that I've seen live, the latest one, because he's going for the sack, and I mean his leg is like it just literally swings into somebody's ankle, and it just it's like it reminded me.
The Nick Chubb leg was bad as well too. Nick Chubb was bad. A bad one. So it's tough, right? But you know, go back again. How many times have we said on this show? Pay the players what they asked for, because it is here today and is gone the next minute. Nick Chubb was only 27 years old when he broke his leg. 27.
Crazy. And I give him credit.
That's why I support these guys getting as much money as possible up front, because there's no guarantee.
He's in Houston and he's not playing too bad.
Yeah, but he'll never be the same.
I know,
right?
And I'm kind of worried about Tyreek, because everything about Tyreek was his speed, and I'm like, how? And
his stop and go, his suddenness, right? His suddenness.
He trains a lot, so I think he can be somewhat of the player that he once was. But you're never the same player,
right?
You know, I like.
Now, if he was 22 and it was just an ACL, but this is a broken leg, this is a PCL, this is an ACL. There's a lot of those, right? So there's
a couple players that I've seen bounce back and basically come back the same. I think the best example is Paul George. I think out of everybody that I've seen come back from a gruesome injury, Paul George and Dak are probably the best two examples of coming back from a gruesome injury and basically being the same player. Athleticism obviously took a hit, but it's like they found a way to still be elite level players. Paul George was third in MVP voting at one point.
You never wish that on a player, right? You never, no matter how much you don't like a player, you just don't want to see that, man. And that hurts, right? Because, you know, their family's watching. Their close friends are watching. You see someone's career flash before them. You know, this is well before we were on this earth. Gale Sayers probably would have been the greatest running back of all time ever had he not. I think he tore his ACL in the 60s, and he was done. Tears his ACL now at 24 years old, 25 years old. He still has 5, 6, 7 years left. Imagine that. Ask those Chicago Bears fans that of yesteryear. Gale Sayers, the Galloping Ghost, out of Kansas University. Supposedly we would have been the greatest from kick returning and being and tailback. And he tore his knee up, and that was it for him. So medication has come a long way. It's helped these guys, stay on the field, but they're, to your point, they're never the same after that type of injury.
You just reminded me of what I wanted to bring up when we were talking NBA.
I told you.
The longevity debate, right? Because that's been a thing about LeBron and everybody else. And you know what? But somebody brought up a point where it's like, how much can you use longevity? Because I've never used longevity as an argument for anybody. Because somebody's like, how? Basically, they were just like, how can you use longevity as an argument for players like LeBron, KD, Harden, Steph? I'm like, Harden's longevity much as matters as Vince Carter's longevity. Like, really, it doesn't matter. I think for KD and LeBron, I think longevity is somewhat of a debate for them, right? But I mean, Harden, yeah, he's had longevity, but I mean, his longevity is just as important as Vince Carter's, because in reality, what have they done other than Harden's MVP?
Well, I mean, it's all relative, man. It's how you feel, and the people who love longevity are Bron fans. The people who don't love longevity are MJ fans. That's what we're talking about. This, and again, I don't want this season to be that, right? I don't want it to go there. But from a longevity, guys are playing longer. Medicine's better, care is better. They take better care of their bodies. They've got the money to be able to take better care of their bodies. They should be longer term players now than they were in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They should be.
Yeah. No,
it's like when Chris Rock said, you shouldn't go to jail as a man. If you got children, you should take care of your kids. I'm not impressed by you say, I take care of my kids. Well, you're supposed to. Think about with load management. They got the big cushions on the bench now. There's big like 9-inch pads they can sit on. They don't have to sit on a chair anymore. All these things that they've got, they should be playing long. For me, it doesn't move the needle as much for me as it may be for others. But again, it's relative. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Eli McCullough said, game isn't as physical. Rodman would eat LBJ alive. Eli McCullough is my new best friend. You can have my email address and please send me your information. I may have a surprise for you if you're in Indianapolis. Well, his son is the
announcement on Sunday. So
his son is the basketball manager at IU East. So I got to meet him. I've gone up there for a couple practices.
Okay.
And I've seen the team and everything else. My dog kicked the remote.
This debate is going to go on forever. Okay. The debate is going to go on forever because those who are fans aren't going to get their minds changed, right? Those who are not fans aren't going to get their minds changed. And from my perspective, we've all talked about this, and I don't want to go here, but everybody's got their perspective. We'll have that conversation later on down the road. Let's hit a couple more of these.
Well, I was just going to say we're going to have a Game Time Live here, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, where it'll probably be all NBA, just to get ready for the season. So if you guys want to comment NBA stuff, we will happily talk about it. We'll talk about it still.
Because believe me, we're not all on the Bron bandwagon or on the MJ bandwagon or just the Pacer bandwagon. We got a lot of bandwagons we cover on the Game Time podcast.
Hey, you got to give me props. I didn't even talk about Paulo Banchero today, right? That's an achievement for me. I love Paulo Banchero.
I got a man crush on him too, so that's
I love
I got a man crush on him too, man. I'm not going to lie about it, man. That dude can ball, man. That dude can ball. Let's hit a couple of football things, and then we can hit back some NBA.
Yeah.
Game I'm interested in: Broncos and Eagles. They're in Philadelphia. Broncos can move the ball. What do you think happens? I think tush push makes it happen. Eagles go 6-0, 5-0. Excuse me, 5-0.
Yeah, I think the Eagles win. I think the Eagles can win it pretty handedly. I'm going to throw this game at you: Buccaneers Seahawks in Seattle. I've been thinking about this game because I talked about my NFC tier list on our last video on YouTube. Scan that QR code if you want to check that video out. I have the Seahawks in my tier 3, which is solid but not good enough. I am willing to move them into playoff teams if they can beat the Buccaneers this week.
It's an evening game. Granted,
this should be the Sunday night game.
It's not. Yeah, it feel like you want it to be a Sunday night game, but the Sunday night game is Patriots and Bills.
Patriots have been a tough team this year. It could. We'll see what happens.
But I like the Seahawks in this game. They're they're at home, and the crowd in Seattle. It's not going to be like last night's game. The Rams had a home game, and the only people that came were 49er fans. It won't be that way in Seattle. So give me Seattle at home, sitting back, waiting on Tampa Bay to come there after a tough loss from Tampa Bay from last week.
I really like Seattle, man. Seahawks.
Me and Eli are tight. Eli says Seahawks are going to dominate. I love that.
I like the Seahawks this year, and you know what? It was a team that I had a lot of questions about heading into the year, and the more and more I've watched them, I'm like, I like what I'm seeing more and more every week. I think even if they can keep it close, I'm willing to move them at the top of tier 3 because at the top of the tier 3 I have Dallas. I probably need to put Arizona or San Francisco there. But I think right now, even if Seattle can keep this game close, I really want to put them in playoff tier. But right now in my playoff tier, just for the people in the live stream, in tier 1, which is Super Bowl, I've got Eagles, Buccaneers, Packers, and Lions. In playoff teams, tier 2, I have Commanders, Falcons, and Rams. In tier 3, solid but not good enough, I have Cowboys, Cardinals, Seahawks, and Niners. Tier 4, which is just a question mark tier, I have the Vikings and the Bears. Vikings because, McCarthy's out, Carson Wentz is back in. The Bears, ups and downs, curves and it's been a lot. And then tier 5,
you missed somebody.
Tier 5, which is long way to go, Panthers, Giants, and Saints. Who am I missing?
Jacksonville Jaguars, man.
That's AFC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, wait a minute, did he just omitted them? Okay, good.
No,
okay, fair enough.
No, that's just NFC. I need to make an AFC one, but the NFC, I was so hard on the NFC before we started the season. So
I remember.
I said it was Eagles and everybody else, but
you said Eagles and nobody else.
I did. I was just like, Buccaneers. But like I said, I think my thing about the Buccaneers is still the same. Like, you've made a couple divisional rounds, very impressive. Baker's playing well. I hope they can get healthy, because then, if they're not healthy, it's like Eli said, no Irving and no Evans. If you go to the playoffs without them and Godwin, it's like, well, I can't really judge you on the same criteria as the last 2 seasons when you were healthy.
Yeah, but that's going to be fun to see. The Monday night game is Jacksonville and the Chiefs, and they're in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that game is going to probably look an awful lot like last night's game. The home team is probably going to have 50% of the crowd.
Yeah,
because the Chiefs are in town. That's going to be a barn burner this coming Monday night.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think what's another game that I'm looking at?
You can't forget your boys, Commanders and Chargers.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. I thought you were going to say Dallas. I was like, whatever. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is playing, so big chance here for them.
Is he 100%? Is he 100%?
Yeah, it says active. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? You think he's ready, or you think after two weeks he's saying, you know what, I got to get back in there and help my team, especially after the way he played last week.
I have no clue. I'm going to be honest.
I think it's the latter. I think it's the latter, because remember, we were hyping up his backup. He did. Chargers got 2 starting tackles out. That's not good for them.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin is not playing either, if you remember.
But you know who they got? They got the man at quarterback, the second best quarterback in the AFC right now.
No, I'm talking Commanders right now.
At the helm. They'll be all good, right? They got Justin Herbert, and that's all they need. Well,
I tell you what, he better play better this week.
If they lose, I'll be like, well, if they lose, I can say, hey, they didn't have their tackles.
If he doesn't play at elite level, they lose.
Yeah,
and they're at home. They're at home, and there are no real Charger fans out in LA.
I was going to say that.
So it's going to be a 50-50. It's going to be probably a 50-50 game.
It'll be a tough game. We will see what happens. I think that'll be an interesting game for sure. Lions and Bengals would have been interesting, but Burrow won't be in that game. Cowboys play the Jets.
Detroit fans are going to take over Cincinnati. My guy Scott Nichols said Detroit is taking over the city of Cincinnati this weekend. There's going to be a lot of blue in that red city.
I bet.
Yeah.
Herbert with Allen, McConkey, and Joe. Yeah. And Quentin Johnson, and I said it after week 1, I'm like, if Quentin Johnson can catch the ball.
He catches the ball, right?
That receiving core is set, because Keenan Allen has, I'm not going to say, he's pretty much been revived being back with the Chargers.
Also, their running back is a clear-cut one now because my guy went out with his Achilles injury, right? So now there's no Amarion. I forget how
Amarion Hampton.
Yeah, Amarion Hampton now is the lead guy. You got just don't fumble the ball.
Yeah, I like the Friday live stream. We have to make this a normal thing, right? Because people get off work early on Friday, so
it's 2 guys talking sports, man.
And we can hit almost like when we get to the NBA and we can hit everything.
How much better can it be? We're talking sports, man. A lot of stuff, crazy stuff going around us, from an economical perspective and party line perspective. We're just sitting here talking about sports, and not once are we going into a piece of this side or that side. We're talking sports side.
Ravens and Texans. These are 2 teams that we were both. Well, you were high on Houston. I just said, okay.
I was absolutely high on Houston.
I said Houston would win the South, but that's just because everybody else was. I didn't know what to think.
Hey, look. Jackson's not playing this Sunday.
What?
Cooper. I'm gonna say Cooper Flag. Cooper Rush is starting for Jackson this week.
Cooper Rush.
If Houston doesn't win this game, they're in Baltimore, and we talked about, if we're talking about even talent, I always lean on the better coach. Ryans is much better coach than Harbaugh. D'Amico Ryans is a much better coach than Harbaugh. So I'm taking the Texans and an upset win over the Ravens in Baltimore.
I wouldn't say it's much of an upset now, but we will. Cooper Rush is a solid backup quarterback. He was a backup for Dak. He played very well.
He's going to be solid come Sunday then.
Yeah, he's got the weapons to get it done, and I think that's why Cooper Rush was so good in Dallas, because he had Amari Cooper, he had Lamb, he had the weapons.
Can you imagine if the young Mr. Sanders would have said, "Yeah, I'll go to Baltimore, no worries."
He'd be playing right now.
He'd be playing right now.
Makes no sense. He probably wouldn't be starting. He'd actually probably be behind Cooper Rush.
He'd be ahead of Cooper Rush.
Nah, I think Cooper Rush would have been ahead of him. There's no Cowboys bias here.
That's the clickbait on that one.
I've watched Cooper Rush play multiple games for the Cowboys because it was the year Dak ankle went. No, that was Andy Dalton.
Eli and I are going to be better friends. He's taking the Texans as well. I'm telling you, me and Eli are tight.
You may see Eli at a couple IU East games this year because
I hope so. We'll definitely get there and see Coach for sure.
Yeah, we'll have Coach Hester on the pod. We keep somehow going back to basketball, but we do have a lot of basketball coaches in the NAIA lined up.
Some great names coming down the pipe. Not just basketball. We got some good football things coming around as well too. So I'm pretty excited about this next 60 days of continuing our platform and what we're trying to do, reach an audience of not just football or basketball, but a little bit of everything. We touch a little bit of WNBA, hitting on a little bit of MLB. Last night, the Yankees blanked the Red Sox 4-0 to get into the divisional round against Toronto Blue Jays. That's going to be interesting. Toronto's a tough team, and they spanked the Yankees this year. So the Yankees gonna have to bring their A game. Good thing seeing Boston Red Sox lose. That's always good to see them not win. And the Cubbies are on to the divisional round as well. Good job to the Chicago Cubs. The Dodgers beat the snot out of Cincinnati, which is always a good thing as well. So baseball is not forgotten either. So if you want to hear more about baseball, we watch a little bit of baseball too. We can hit some of that as well.
I watch a little bit of it. I'm interested to when we get to December 1st, 2026, because that is when the MLB's collective bargaining agreement comes to an end. So that's when we will see how things shake up.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. If the NBA Players Association and the NFL Players Association want to see something, hold my beer, says the MLB union. Hold my beer. Best union in the country, period, bar none, is the Players Association for MLB.
You think the smaller teams are going to want a salary cap because of the way the Dodgers have just bought everybody?
The players said it ain't happening. The players.
I was just asking you because this
is what I'm saying. This is why I love the MLB.
I've seen a lot of discourse about fans being like smaller market fans being unhappy with the Dodgers and the Yankees right now.
They are. They're absolutely unhappy, and it's always been that way.
But the players don't care because they're getting paid all this money.
Unless the owners make a huge concession on revenue sharing. That's the only way this is going to change. It can't be 51-49. If they're going to do a revenue sharing move and they make some real big moves to give to the players, that's the only thing that's going to get the players to say yes.
Yeah.
This is a union to stop the greatest championship piece ever, which is the World Series in 1994. They said, nah. They'll come back to play. They won't cancel the World Series. Ask the Montreal Expos and the New York Yankees how they feel about 1994. They said, no thanks. Hold my beer.
I'm not the biggest baseball guy. So
nothing but love for the MLB union. They got it right. They got it right.
I am a Reds fan. I've recently gotten to baseball the last 2-3 years. My brother started playing baseball, so it kind of got me interested in the sport a little bit. NBA and football is
good point. Yeah,
it's still my bread and butter. But I'm excited to see what happens there. I'll probably be watching the World Series. I try to watch it every year.
Well, so division rounds up now. Like I said, Yankees in Toronto, and then you got the Dodgers. I think it's the Dodgers, Cubs. I think if I remember right, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But this is when baseball really heats up, right? All these pitches matter. You've got shortened bullpens, which is going to leverage those teams that have pitchers that can go deeper into the innings. This is going to be fun to see, man. It's going to be fun to see.
Monday Night Football, Chiefs and Jags. Who do you think wins that? It's in Jacksonville.
I think Jacksonville wins.
Yeah.
I'm riding with Jacksonville. You know why? It's really simple. They've been kicking butt.
I think the next couple of weeks, what I want to do is I want to get away from the previews and the recaps. I really want to get some lists in, right? I want to rank our top teams in the West, like we did for NFL, where we did the power rankings. I want to do NBA power rankings next week.
Yeah.
I think this week, instead of recapping college football, because obviously we'll do the Cross Time show with Crossroads Sports, I'd like to just do a like an NFL power rankings right now, or something along those lines. I'd like to do something different this week instead of recapping.
We can do that. Also, what we also can look to do for the watchers, the MLB playoffs is here, so we're not talking about 30 teams. We're talking about 8 teams now, and I can break those down. We can break those down as well too, because just as my man just said, Cy Young candidate with the small market team. That's Paul Skeens. That's out of University out of LSU. This dude was dominating, man. He's dominating. Probably best young pitcher in the National League by far.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that. Yeah, let's do that. We got baseball fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
let's
shake it up a little bit for sure. Sunday we will be live again. I think we may make Friday another day that we go live. I think we may have found our second day, like we've been discussing.
Nothing wrong with sharing a lot of good information, man. We Isaiah and I, we talked about this before the show started. Man, we had a lot of topics we wanted to hit and said, well, Isaiah said, well, if we're gonna do all that, let's just go live and make it happen.
Instead of me having to take a bunch of different segments that are recorded.
So a lot of good stuff. So follow us. Be sure that you share with your friends and family members to follow and subscribe, but also to share with us what you want to see and hear. We're not just limited on NFL football or NBA basketball. We got a little bit of knowledge going on. So if you want to hear something, some topics, by all means, shoot us a message, and we'd be more than happy to hit those topics as well. Also,
yeah, no, for sure. I'm very excited for NBA to come back. I'm excited. I'm super excited on what we've got going on. Won 3K on DK last week. $3 play. LOL. Man. Hey. Hold on.
Can I get a loan?
I've got a rant I got to get off. Last week put down like $5 and I bet on the Jaguars to beat the Niners and the Colts to beat the Rams. And the Colts lost. I thought the Jags would have been the one to lose, man. I was so mad. I would have been $60 richer today.
See, all it takes is a little bit. Right? But no, that's good stuff. I took an L last week too. But I'm planning on winning this week. I'm not taking the L this week. I got a surprise winner in my back pocket. So hopefully I can have a couple of bucks in my pocket come Monday afternoon.
Fantasy football, I can pull up my
absolutely. I love fantasy football, and I usually make a little bit of efforts talking about fantasy during our football preview. So I'm all in fantasy football. We can talk about sit-em, stardoms, injuries. We can do update injuries, see where guys are. Absolutely, we can do that as well too.
Yeah, I've got 5 fantasy football teams, but they're all named after my dogs, and one of them's right there. He's watching the show. I've got like 5 teams. I draft them all, but I'm doing pretty well. One of my teams, so my main league is my family league that I do. I'm 4-0 right now, not doing too bad. My starting quarterback is the one and only Justin Herbert, of course, in my family league. So, of course, and then I've got Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, A.J. Brown. I've got George Pickens, Ferguson, Xavier Worthy. Who else do I got? And then on the bench, I've got Josh Jacobs, C.J. Stroud, Coleman, Devontae Smith. I have Austin Eckler, but he's hurt.
What we can do, I think we're saying, looking at our lineups, maybe we can drop our lineups in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
And we can get some feedback. Yeah, we can do all that. Nothing wrong with being interactive.
On one of my rosters, I got absolutely brutalized. One of my rosters has Joe Burrow and Malik Neighbors.
Well, here's the good thing for you. Here's the good thing for you. There's thousands just like you. No worries. That's why it's fancy football.
I mean, man, just everybody.
Fields is killing. I'm starting Fields this week over Jalen Hurts, just so you know.
Really?
I'm starting, yes.
Best quarterback play this week. I'm assuming he means that with Fields.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with the Cowboys defense, yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Or no, we talked about this a couple days ago.
The worst defense.
The worst defense on paper.
The worst defensive backfield on ball tracking there's no way Justin Fields doesn't score at least 25 points this weekend.
The Cowboys
in fantasy football.
The Cowboys on paper are the 32nd defense in the league. Baltimore's 31st. New York is 30th. Pittsburgh's actually 30. The 30th spot.
And the flip side of that is Eagles are going against the Broncos, who've got the reigning defensive player of the year, Mr. Patrick Surtain Jr. 2 years ago, rather, excuse me. And then they've got one of the best defensive backfields in the league. So I don't look for a lot of Jalen Hurts throwing the ball down the field to the malcontent this week at all.
Well, if you ask a lot of people, Jalen Hurts, he doesn't throw the football at all. He just runs.
Well, he does throw it. So
I know. I'm just
enough of I'm gonna defend Jalen Hurts.
I know.
You know that's my dude. All he does is win. He's not playing fancy. He's just a winner.
Man, a lot of interesting things going on.
Good stuff. No, listen, we appreciate the feedback that you all are giving us. We love it to death. Keep it coming. We'll continue in the chat after the live is out. And look for us on Sunday. Tell all your friends and family. We're going to go live Sunday. We're going to talk baseball, college football, NBA, WNBA, NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe even hit a little bit of golf.
No, I probably won't. I don't watch golf.
Well, I saw a big headline about someone's wife getting a soft drink thrown at him at one of the golf events.
I don't watch golf. I got to be honest with you.
Maybe I hit a little bit of that, man. I don't want to turn people off. So
you can hit golf. I just don't watch golf. I got to be honest with you. That's about it.
We can bring an expert on for golf. They can share a little bit. We can bring
Man, I've got some friends. I got some friends that were like, once you guys get bigger, because I've got a lot of friends that are like,
no. See, that's my problem. I don't want to I don't want to hear. Wait till you get bigger.
Well, I said that to them. I said that to them.
Just like we had with Mac. Mac didn't wait until we had 10,000 subscribers. He came in and says, "I see something in you guys. I'm getting on at the ground level. Come on in."
My friends are big Formula One fans, and they were like, "Man, you should give us our own little show on the like a branch under show." And we can just talk F1. I'm like, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I was like, I want to wait till we have a bigger audience
involved in F1, right? So yeah,
I said, let's wait till we get a little bigger, as in a bigger audience that has a little more diversity in what they're a fan of.
But we need our subscribers reaching out. We need them reaching out to people that they know, so we can get on, so we can talk about those things.
Yeah. No,
listen, with the contacts that Isaiah has and some of the contacts I have, I wouldn't be surprised if we could get someone on from Formula One, IndyCar racing. Don't be surprised, though. Don't doubt what we can do. Don't doubt.
IndyCar, I could probably get F1.
Don't be surprised. You never know.
F1's hard to nab, but IndyCar is pretty. IndyCar may actually be. I got some people at the Speedway I could text. But
more to come.
But basketball. When we're back in basketball season, and we've got a lot of NAIA coaches lined up. Literally probably next week or the week after this week. Yeah. So should be fun. Remember, folks, Game Time Live this Sunday, 11 to 12, Sunday Eastern time, 11 to 12. So make sure you guys do check that out. We will talk NBA. We will talk NFL. We'll kind of hit all around on Sunday, but we will more than likely cover college football first to kick that off. We'll have Coach Ramon here. Should be fun. Darrell and Ramon will get into it a little bit, and I will sit back and instigate, be the mediator until I start arguing with Darrell. So we'll see what happens. That is going to do it for this stream, though. Big thanks to Eli McCullough and Jeff Jones in the chat. They were pretty. They thanks for being interactive.
They brought it today. Appreciate it.
Nakori was watching us on Instagram, my broadcast partner. So big props to Nakori as well. Make sure you guys check out me and Nakori tomorrow. We'll be broadcasting IUE soccer. So make sure you guys do check that out. But Darrell, any final words before we get out of here?
Man, we are blessed, man. We're having an opportunity.
Friday may be our new day, like around this time slot. If I don't have a broadcast.
We got some more stuff coming out too for on Sunday. We got a little bit of a little contest we're going to do, I think. Some news on some other things that we're trying to get our name out there to everybody. So more to come with that as well too. Pretty happy, man. It's gonna be a good weekend, and let's go Saturday for some good football and to capitalize that on Sunday.
Yep. But folks, that is going to do it. We will see you guys next time right here on the GameTime Podcast.